All right, show me the money NFL picks for week number 3 here on the Just End the Suffering podcast. Welcome back. I'm your host, Mike Phillips. Joining me today, one of my good friends, co-host of the Sky Guys podcast. I'll be talking to him plenty in the coming months of Andor out here, but we're going to talk about his Giants first here. Nick Fraietta is here. Nick, how are you?
Oh yeah, the Giants. Forgot about that. I was ready to do picks. Forgot about the Giants. It's been so long since the Giants have been relevant before even at the end of September that this is a shock to me that we're getting to discuss this seriously.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to discuss this here. I mean, obviously, they win the opener against Tennessee. The Carolina game, I feel like there was a mixed bag of most coming in. Instead of saying, oh, Carolina's not good. We should win this easy. Then you got the other side of the Giants saying, oh, hold on. Like, let's not get ourselves in a trap here. Close game throughout. Couple of plays could have swung either way. But I think the thing I liked of this game for the Giants is I said earlier in the podcast, two big numbers here was they forced the 2 turnovers, they're +2 in turnover margin. That was a big deal here. And they held Panthers 2 for 12 on third down. And those are the two things that won in the football game.
Definitely. Definitely. But this season is not about wins and losses. Obviously, it's fantastic that they're 2-0 and have a chance to be 3-0, considering they're our favorite in the game. But it's not about wins and losses. It's about the culture change. And we talked about this intensely on this podcast back in January, December, when they let Gettleman retire and they brought in the new GM. And I was ranting with you saying that it wasn't about losing. It was about the change in culture, which we saw in week 1. Going forward on that 2-point conversion for the win, even if they didn't get it, that's what they needed. They needed someone who has excuse my French, the balls to do something like that and not kneel on their own 9-yard line. That's what they needed, and that's what they have, I think. They have a general manager, a front office who's not afraid of a computer, doesn't mock a computer. They have a coach who goes for it, goes for the win. This is what they needed. Even if they don't win, it's a step in the right direction. But you know what? They are winning, so let's take it while we have it.
Absolutely here. And this is one thing. I mean, obviously, it's the most important number here for the Giants that they have the 2 wins, and they are one of 3 teams in the NFC are undefeated right now with Philly and Tampa Bay. And obviously, look at their schedule. You see a lot of games that they're capable of winning here on it. I mean, they still have Jacksonville, Houston, Detroit, Chicago's coming in a few weeks. Dallas is here without Dak Prescott here. I mean, the talent-wise, people question it, but like, do you buy what this team is doing here? You think they can, hang around the fringe of the wild card race this year?
I do. I do. I think their schedule is easy enough where they could do that. I even thought that going into the season. I didn't think they'd be 2-0 after the first 2, but I mean, I thought they'd probably be 1-1. They just had Tennessee. Honestly, the only difference is Tennessee missed a field goal. But I mean, when you look at the schedule, you mentioned it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least maybe 8 more winnable games on the schedule. Not that they'll win 8, but I wouldn't be shocked if they won 8 more games.
Yeah.
They, like what you mentioned, you have Dallas, Chicago, Jacksonville, Seattle, Houston, Detroit, and then all these division games.
Yeah, the Commanders twice.
Yeah, you never know with a division game. You never know what the Eagles look fantastic so far, but you never know. It's a division game. You never know in a division game. And they play the Colts, do the Colts suck? Looks like it.
Yeah, I'd be slow on the Colts because the Colts always start slow.
They do. So I'm not convinced that the Colts suck, but they might. And if they do, and they're 2-14, and we're playing at the end of the season,
yeah,
they win that game.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I look at it right now. Is like I know everybody's saying obviously, get the quarterback, tank for the picks. Like you have a new coach, you have a bunch of young guys who want to prove themselves in the league. Like good at they're going out there, and this for me, it's a positive sign. I'd say, hey, it's like I have a good coaching staff here, and then when I get them better players, I can really do good things.
Definitely. I mean, I see the point. If you don't lose, get the quarterback, then you might get stuck in no man's land for a while, but you know who else was stuck in no man's land for a while? The Bucs.
Yeah.
And then they got Brady, and then they won. So who's to say that we can't stay in no man's land for 2 or 3 years, and then who knows what quarterback becomes available? You never know. There's rumors Lamar Jackson might be available after this season. So Tiki Barber even said that he thinks he can go to the Giants. So I don't think it'll happen, but it's not out of the question.
Yeah, let's get to this Monday night game here coming up against the Cowboys here. I mean, obviously they have the setup here where no Dak Prescott for this game. Cooper Rush played for the Cowboys last week, helped them beat the Bengals here. Bengals are off to 0-2 start. Dallas comes in 1-1. They are underdogs in this game here. Like, what do you think the Giants have to do to win this game? Because obviously, I mean, the quarterback situation is pretty even. I think the rest of the roster-wise, you would still give the Cowboys the edge.
I think they need to run the ball well because that's something they didn't do really well against Carolina, but they were able to sneak a win out. Barkley ran all over the Titans, and that was awesome. He didn't have a great game against Dallas, and he doesn't have against Carolina. If he doesn't have a great game against Dallas, they're not going to win because they're going to pass rush like crazy. Dallas is great at that. They're great at getting to the quarterback. And if you let them know you're passing because you can't run, they're going to get to him so many times. And we all know what happens with Daniel Jones when he gets under pressure. He drops the ball a lot. And if you drop the ball, you're going to lose. So you got to run the ball well so you can set up play action. And if they don't run the ball well, they're going to lose the game.
Absolutely. Here, we'll see what happens with the Giants week. It'll be a very exciting Monday Night Football game here as well. Let's get to the reason here to the picks. Our good friend Nick D'Alessio was here last week. He went 1-2 on the week. He went heads up me, took the Patriots laying the 1.5, got that right. He wasn't good to win with the Ravens, laying the 3.5 until they collapsed in the fourth quarter, so he lost that one. Obviously, get the Bears. He took them plus 10. Then the referee side, Justin Fields did not score, so he did not get that one either. So 1-2 for Nick.
I like his picks. I was with you when the lines came out, and I was like, "Oh, the Steelers, jump on the Steelers!" And then I realized as the week went on, I forgot to tell you. I texted you this on Sunday. That was a line to me that made no sense. And what do you do when the lines make no sense, Mike?
Yeah, you
do the exact opposite of what you think is right, and that's what I did. And I did take the Patriots, and they won. That line still made no sense, but that's what happens.
Yeah, so my picks, I went 1-2 on the week. Like I said, I had the Steelers laying getting the 1.5. I lost that game. I took the Bengals laying 7. Not that they were going to no show in Dallas. The one I got right here, the Jaguars +4 against the Colts. So that streak of the Jacksonville dominating the Colts in Jacksonville continues.
You could have took -21 and you would have had that one.
Yeah, that one shocked me. I thought they would be close. I didn't think they would dominate them and blow it out outright.
I had a great week with the picks, so I'm looking to carry my momentum over to this week here with you. I was wrong on all Monday night and Thursday night, whatever, but on the day of Sunday I was 9-4. So I was very good. I was very happy with my Sunday.
Yeah, let's see if you can bring some of that mojo here because on the year, Teen Challengers 2-4. I'm also 2-4. So both off the slow start. So let's kind of get this thing going here. So we'll go ahead here, get to some picks here. You're going to be up first as the guest. Pick number 1. Where are you going?
The floor is mine.
Yep, the floor is yours.
All right, my first pick, I'm going to take the Bills, and I have it at -6. You agree with that, mine? All right, so I got 3 reasons for this here. The Bills have won 7 straight against the Dolphins at an average score of 19 per game. They've won 9 of the last 10 against Miami. Josh Allen's only lost to the Dolphins once in his career, his rookie season. The Dolphins are also 0-9 in their last 9 games against a quarterback whose last name does not have an O in it. Which is true, and they're 11-0 when the guy does have an O in it, which is a true stat. How ridiculous it is, but it is true. And with the Bills, the way they're dominating the league right now, I'm going to keep giving points until they prove me wrong.
Can't argue with that. Where are you going now for pick number 2?
Number 2, I'm taking the Bengals. They have -5. You agree with that?
Yep.
So the big problem with the Bengals so far this season has been the offensive line, and it was a problem last year too, but it didn't get exploited. The Jets are 30th in pass rush dating back to last season. Bottom 5 in every defensive category. Dallas and Pittsburgh are both top 5 pass rushing teams. I don't think that the offensive line gets exploited this week, and I think the Bengals go back to what they do. And I think this is a great get-right opportunity for the Bengals and a revenge game that they lost last year in Jet Life.
Yeah, I disagree on that one. I thought there's more talent on that pass rushing unit than the numbers they gave the Jets. I think Carl Lawson is healthy too. Revenge game factor there as well. Like, we have to stay away. I feel like the numbers just about right.
Well, we'll see. My last pick, I'm taking Denver at home +1.5. I think that this comes down to if the Broncos are who we thought they were, they need to prove it now. This team is a fumbleless drive away from last Monday night from being 2-0. People don't seem to think that. I know they haven't looked as good as people want them to, but their D has been incredible. It's one of the top 3 defenses in the league right now. And they're very, very close to being a 2-0 team. And I think if they were a 2-0 team, this line would be -2 if they didn't fumble in the red zone. So I like Denver bouncing back and becoming who we thought they were going in. I really think that they're a fumble away from the whole narrative, or the opposite of a fumble away from the whole narrative changing on this team.
All right, you're on the board. I'm going up now. Pick 1. I'm going heads up with you in that game. Taking the 49ers, laying the 1.5 in Denver here. And this is for me. I don't trust Nathaniel Hackett. He looks like he's over his head as a coach, and he doesn't seem like he has an idea what he's doing. Russell Wilson seems like he's clueless right now how to make the thing work in Denver. They're really banged up on the receiver room. They lost a bunch of guys there. The 49ers had Jimmy Garoppolo back under center, and I feel like that's going to really stabilize that team because we're not doing much with Trey Lance before he got hurt. Jimmy G has limitations, but he knows how to win with his team. They have the talent to win with this team. I feel like the locker room is behind him. I think the 49ers are going to make a big stage here. So I'm going to go heads up with you on that one.
We'll see. I mean, I think the Niners definitely have a much lower ceiling with Jimmy, but a much higher floor.
All right, that's pick number one. Pick two. Another one we're head out here. Taking the Dolphins getting the 6 points in that game against Buffalo here. I do think that something you didn't factor in here is that going to South Beach in September is never easy for a football team not conditioned to it here. I think Buffalo, short week, long flight. You know, the Dolphins played very well. They beat up Baltimore. Tua Tagovailoa had 6 touchdowns here. They had the firepower up and down the field with Buffalo in this game. I think 6 is too many divisional road games for me to take here. So I'm going to take all those points with the Dolphins.
Like I said, I'm going to keep giving them until I'm proven wrong with the Bills.
All right. Pick number 3 for me. The one where we're different here. I'm going to take the Chargers laying 7 at home against the Jaguars week. I feel like this number is too low because I think it's an overreaction to what Jacksonville did this week against the Colts was a great performance by them. Also by the Chargers losing in Kansas City here. Chargers are sitting at home for 10 days, stewing in this loss. I know Herbert's a little banged up here, but Nick, are the Jaguars really flying across the country and putting up a close effort in this game? That's something I have to see them because I can see them getting all the headlines this week, all the clips saying, oh, you know, we're so great. We beat the Colts. We're on our way up. We could win the division. Go out and lose by double digits in LA against the Chargers. So, plus the one thing that works against the Chargers is the home field advantage. There's not a lot of Jags fans flying out there. So, this might be a rare true home game for the Chargers. So, lay the 7.
I like the pick. I think the Chargers have that game. If it was 6, I'm all in. The 7 is just what scares me. Is that crossing over that magic number scares me.
Yeah, I feel like for me, this is just more. I feel like this is where Jacksonville goes on the road, like gets like oh happy go lucky, and they end up losing by double digits. They go back home to what happened.
See?
All right, so to reset the picks here, Nick is going with the Bills laying 6 against the Dolphins in Miami. The Bengals laying 5 in MetLife against the Jets. The Broncos getting 1.5 on Sunday Night Football against the 49ers. We're going heads up on 2 of those games. I am taking the Dolphins plus the 6, the 49ers minus the 1.5. I'm going to lay the 7 with the Chargers. Those are your picks for week number 3 here on the podcast. Coming up next week on the podcast, we're going to be joined by good buddy of mine, Charlie Borders. We're talking about the Buccaneers and the whole Tom Brady situation here. I feel like that's like gotten some wild stuff happening off the field.
Definitely. It's kind of crazy that they're 2-0 too. It just doesn't even seem like it, right?
Yeah, I mean, all you hear about guys getting hurt. Tom Brady might be sleeping on somebody's couch and not being staying in a separate house from Giselle. That they're 2-0. They got a winnable game this week as Green Bay has been up and down so far, and they got the big game against the Chiefs next week.
Well, let me ask you this: if you had a 4th pick, where would you go with it?
If I had a 4th pick this week,
if you had a 4th pick, where would you go with it? I have an answer lined up. Just want to see what you think.
This is a tough week to be honest with you because there's a lot of good games in this window.
There are. I think this is a very one thing that jumps out to me. I think my pick for the 4th one would be I would take the Falcons going to Seattle, and I think that line when I saw it last was plus 2.5. Now it's even. So I guess the public agrees with me.
Yeah,
but my reasoning for that is Seattle, I think, is clearly the worst team in the NFL after these 2 weeks. And I don't think they're getting the credit of being the worst team because of the same reason I took Denver, those fumbles in the red zone. I think this is a team that had a good quarter and a half to start the season with Geno going 10 for his first 10. And since then, they've get like 3 first downs total. I think Falcons can score points, and I think Seattle cannot score more than 14 points in a game. And I think they're going to lose it.
I think I'd do one more pick. I would hit the Saints laying the 3 in Carolina.
And if I had another one on top of that, I would take the Ravens. I think that the Patriots suffer from the same thing as Seattle. They're not nearly as bad. But I think Mac Jones is proven to be a disaster. I've been saying that for a couple months now. I think Mac Jones is an absolute disaster as a quarterback, and the Patriots offense can't do anything. And the Ravens will lose a game if they let up 38 points. But I don't think the Patriots are capable of scoring more than 20. And I think the Ravens are definitely scoring more than 20 in this one. So I that's another game I would take.
I mean, let's put it this way. Do the Patriots have anybody on the level of Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle on their roster?
Nope.
They're not winning that game.
Yeah, I don't think the Patriots can put up enough points to beat the Ravens.
Absolutely. And Nick, people can also hear us here. This is Andorf Mirror Week on the podcast over the Sky Guys here. We're going to be dropping the episode recaps in the main podcast a couple of days after record. We're recording on Thursday this week because we have a little scheduling here, but it's going to be in the Just on the Suffering. I mean, the Sky Guys feed on Friday here. So give the guys a quick tease. What do you think of the premiere?
Yeah, so at the time of recording, I have seen the episode. So has Mike, and actually Pete has as well. He's not joined us here, obviously, but he'll be with us tomorrow. But I like them both. It's not quite what I expected the show to be. It's more grounded, if that makes sense. And that's the perfect term for it. It's more grounded. It's slower than I would have thought. But you know what? This is a 12 episode season, and I would like that with a 12 episode season. If you told me this was a 6 episode season, I'd tell you this is a disaster. But this is a 12 episode season, and I'm excited to what comes next.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the mildest of spoiler alerts for the Andor premiere to give you a sense of how grounded we really get with this show here. So, give you this quick spoiler warning: if you have not watched any about Andor yet. Basically, one of the things we see in the first episode of the premiere is we basically get the visualization of a droid looks like a fire hydrant getting peed on by an alien dog.
Yeah, we get real life brothels in Star Wars too.
Yep. We got implied sex scenes. We have a lot of we have regular people. There's a lot of stuff going on here. It's not like involving the first family of Star Wars.
Yeah, and I think it's very welcome. But we'll if you want to hear more about this and you want to hear this in detail, check out. It'll be on this feed too. But check out the Sky Guys, and we're gonna recap those episodes. And then each week going forward, we'll do the episode of the week, which will be one a week going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Here and Nick, I also recommend people watch all three in one sitting because if you stop, watch one and come back, you're not going to want to come back.
Yeah, agreed. They don't really have much of a. Oh, this is episode 2, and that was it all blended together to me. It seemed like one big movie.
Yeah, it's the Cassie and her origin story.
Yeah, essentially, it's how we got started, and now we're gonna find out, I guess, how he merges or molds into that Rogue One character in the next couple episodes, maybe even next season.
Absolutely. Here, Nick, if you want to follow on social media, how can they do that?
Nick Fry _9, and you can find me there.